push. There's the little warning. Got it. And we are coming to you live. Mitch Kamich Coaching's virtual business box lunch. It's the middle of May of 2022. We started this a year ago. What? We are rocking month 12 right now in the virtual business box lunch. Agenda Empire coming to the tail end of season 2. I am your host, Mitch Kamich. Paul's off screen. Jerk. And I am Mitch Kamich. I am the savage in business. It is Friday. It is noonish time, and we are going to bring it to you hot and heavy. Normally, it's the week that was in business, but today we got a theme, and a really tight theme, a really narrow theme, a really little theme, but a very, very important theme. The power of story. And by power of story, we mean we came from someplace, we got to where we're at right now, and the milestones and markers, the changes, the adaptions, the growth that we had to experience, the challenges and pain in life made us who we are today. So with that, as always, my brothers from other mothers, but the reason there's just 3 instead of a whole panel of 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 people joining us is I just want our family, the MCC community of coaches, talking today to give you a sense of where we came from. You know, Mitch, it sounds like a little bit of branding or marketing, whatever it is. No, because we have different lives than just talking head moments. We have different lives than just being coaches. But each one of those elements from a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago in our life led to the moment where we're here, and our ability to help people came from that. Everybody has the capacity to change, grow, and do something extraordinary with themselves. And that is all built on a foundation of where you came from if you're willing to learn from the lessons of what you're going forward. So the 3 of us are going to have more of a round table discussion day about how we got to the spot that we're at for a moment. We're going to ask some questions. We're going to cry some real tears or some fake ones. Doesn't matter what it is. And we're going to talk about being able to leverage where you came from to turn you into who you're supposed to be. Now, with that, I got some button pushing to do. I'm going to turn the floor over for a moment to my brothers, Paul and Matt. Let them intro themselves a little bit, talk a little bit about what we do at MCC. And when I've done the button pushing, we're going to dive right into the subject so that we can get motoring with you guys. Paul, Matt, the floor's yours while I do the things over in the space.
I'll go first because I think it's typically me that does it, and then you always sweep up and clean it up, right, Paul? So Matt Hewson, I am, like I'll always, super happy to be here on a Friday talking about the week that was and so much more. I help small, medium-sized businesses get things done that they actually need to get done and not be too busy in their mind. So we create process, mechanics, and more importantly, accountability so that you guys actually get done what you need to get done in order to sleep at night. Paul?
Yeah, I'm Paul Flakowski with MCC. It's an important day. It's Friday the 13th, and I help companies slash and hack their way to success. And we're going to use Jason as our little model here. Yeah, it's one of those things. So, have some fun with it. Life can get too serious. We get mixed up, caught up in what's going on, and we don't stop and enjoy the little crazy things in life. So yeah, it's a reminder of that and keeping you on pace.
Fantastic. Keep them entertained for about another 30 seconds or so while I finish the button pushing, and then we will be drilling this.
Well, I'll say this, Friday the 13th, I have 2 kids here with me this evening. Should it be the original Friday the 13th, the remake, or should I do like a Blair Witch or like some modern version of horror?
Jason in space. That's always a good one.
I say just go with the classic one, but unfortunately, with the pace that it goes at and with our attention span, they're going to be bored to tears within probably 2 minutes.
And I find it so funny because like my goal as a business coach is to help you sleep at night. And my goal as a parent is to scare the shit out of my kids enough that they never sleep. So
or go camping. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Blair Witch right before we go camping. That's always been the plan. And I don't want them to see it prior to because I want it to be very fresh on the way.
Family fun with Matt.
Yes. Come for a 3-day retreat. Trust me, it'll be fun.
It builds character, right?
Yeah.
Charge extra for it. All right, we're here and the power of story. So I'm going to set the table a little better for us for a moment. For Paul and Matt, and I mean, obviously, because I come up with a theme on these things on any given week. Sometimes it's whim, most of the time it's well thought out, and then I stew on it a little bit. We look at seminal moments, pivots. Matt, pivots, huh? I've got that in there. Pivots in life.
Still a drinking party.
Exactly, right. Slanta, we hit the magic word.
Though. Yeah.
Pivots, changes, those moments that tell us that we are on the right path or not on the right path. Moments from when we start or graduate high school. Moments from when we go serve in the army. We play on a sports team. We join a martial arts dojo. We fail at business. We get fired from a job. We get fired from multiple jobs, right? We get married. We get divorced. We get remarried. Each of these creates moments in our lives. We can absorb them as trauma. We can learn from them and become more because of them. Each of them is a choice, a moment for us, depending on how we want to deal or react with them throughout life. Some absorb trauma, suck it up. It starts to create patterns and behaviors, post-traumatic stress disorder, etc. Really short, sharp, jarring systems, constant pressure from the outside, going to war, right? Going through a really contentious divorce. Having many of your family members suffer from grave illness and dying. Each of these can give life and triggers to those moments that create holes inside of us. Some of those holes we develop scar tissue around, and due to it, we develop the insensitivity to the sensitive area. If you've ever got a really bad wound of some kind, developed scar tissue, you know that area is sensitive for a long time. And then after a while, your body just kind of gets used to it. And then after a while, it's just another part of life. It's just another mark on your body, right? You almost can't even see it anymore. You almost can't even see the line. But those things come from a moment where you think, oh shit, what was that? And then there are the good parts, the epic moments that we have. You get married, you graduate, you win the lottery, you get that job, you publish a book, you have a child. These give us other triggers and moments and events that start to shape us. So our first question to the day, the first comment to look at, the first way to view this from a thinking perspective, if you had to pick 3 moments in the last 5 years, just 3 moments that changed something in you, and now you're here today. It's okay. You're going to get a minute to think about it, but just 3 moments. Good and bad, momentous, tiny, doesn't matter what it is, but 3 moments where when you look at those moments, they started a shift in path. In fact, I'll go first. I will absolutely go first. And we're only doing the last 5 years. So that erases a significant portion of what came before. I ended up in a business partnership. I got an exceptional coach for myself. I had my business partner and I part ways. He fired me. We were partners, equal. And he said, I can't do this anymore. That changed an awful lot to the moment where I'm sitting here today on the glowing box on the screen, sharing little things like that. Now, those are just professional. I could add personal elements in there as well. You know, my wife and I developing the financial wherewithal and maturity to understand better what we're doing with our money. The continued growth and development of my little girls. My boys becoming full-grown men and moving off into life. These could be moments where I am now tasked to do different things. In fact, my boys turning into men and those men growing up and going out into the world and now seeking what? Advice from a dad about how to become a man starts to change the way I've got to behave, starts to change the way I have to act. So each of those moments leads to literally right now where the man that I am, what I'm still transforming into, and the way I behave with my family, the way I act towards my clients and customers, responsibility, clarity, and more importantly, accountability. I've done this. Great. Here's the reward. I've done this. My bad. My fault. How do we fix it and move on? All of those play a part in my professional life on any given day. But those 3 are seminal to the professional practice I have right now. By getting a business partner, I started to work better with other people and to work better making really adult decisions, financial, monetary, sales, marketing, hiring. And our job is to help other businesses with that. So having to work with somebody else close hold and make decisions when things aren't so well or are going well was really important. Even though I am a coach, getting a coach means that I had accountability. I had somebody else looking over my shoulder that I could trust their opinion and their advice to say, You're doing great. Excuse me, goodness, you're doing great over here. You got to pull your socks up over here, and allowing myself to take that feedback and not fold. Say thank you for that. And then when my partner and I parted ways and parted company, I had to realize that I had all the tools I needed to make this successful, but also what I was looking for next in the form of partners, customers, clients, and how to manage my time in a way that was effective. Paul, Nat, talked a little bit here right now. Going, Mitch, where's the emotion out of that? Each one of those, finding a business partner that trusted me early on when I was still developing an awful lot of what I do professionally, that feels good for the ego, right? Recognition of talent and ability. When I got a coach, realizing that it was more than just me and going to somebody else for the very first time in my life and saying, what am I not doing right? How do I improve this? And for them to say, Mitch, you're going to have to do this next. And if you do this, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be lots of hard work. And trusting in the process and the ability, and more importantly, being vulnerable to come back and say, I know I did well here and I did shitty here. Help me figure this out. And then parting companies, division and dissolution of a really strongly held relationship. It taught me to have to be autonomous again, but what to value when I find partners the next time. So each of those created moments that helped me to navigate that with other people, to help educate them on it, and in turn, to become better at it myself. Paul, Matt, it's an awful lot to lift, but we're thinking about 3 moments in the last 5 years that really led to where we're at right now.
Yeah, and I'm smirking a bit because honestly, like if you look at my now 45 years in this version of life, the past 5 have not been boring. But when you look at some of the seminal events throughout my life, it's actually been outside of that time. So I'm thinking on the go here, but one of the biggest things is for me to, through March, I think it was 16th, 17th of 2020. Obviously, that was going to be a pivotal moment for all of us. But I think there's many different ways to look at that. And I took that first week going, my definition of everything might change forever. We're not sure for how long. And it really allowed me to reflect on what I had been building, which is a Rolodex versus proximity versus, all of these people around me. And I focused on the inner circle. So the people that were closest to me and how that reflected on me, right? Who they were, what they were doing, what their legacy was, and was it in line with what I was doing? Knowing that we all came together quickly. Again, like I went out for virtual beers 2 days after everything shut down, and we chatted about like what the heck, right? Mitch, did you click the button for adult only? I'm allowed to swear.
Oh yes,
here.
you're allowed to say bad words.
We all were like,
worry,
what the fuck?
I don't miss that one.
Yeah. We were just like, what the fuck? We got kids, we got wives, we got jobs, and we're all self-employed. So that was pivotal, but it allowed us to, again, forge these bonds and become even closer and really help one another work through it, right? So that was, although the situation was not ideal, what came out of it was amazing. Second for me is going from kind of an appreciation of financial planning and really diving deep into it and knowing that I was not going to be as good as a professional, and outsourcing that for myself and for my family, I think was key. Knowing that there are people that just do this for a living. And again, not new, but I think many of us, and maybe it's an Alberta thing, we all slept on beds of money for so long that we're like, we'll just make more. I came from hospitality, so I was very much in the daily economy, right? I'd work really hard, lots of activity, serve, bartend, whatever, and I'd have money. So that was always that instant gratification. And to grow up and move away from that lifestyle took me a little bit longer. But then finding the right person to guide myself, my wife, the family through has been like so awesome, because it's no longer a worry. Because again, the last time I paid into a pension plan, I was in my early 20s, right? Because I started my own journey at 22. So anyway, that was fantastic. And then the third one, and Mitch, you stole it from me, so I'm kind of mad, was finding a coach. So thank you, sir. It truly was, not just what you're doing right, but what you're doing wrong. And I think we all I don't, for myself, I think I beat myself up more than most of the external friends do for me. But, having you lean in a little bit and say, hey, buddy, like, here's where you're at, but here's where we need to get to, has been awesome, because it's not only changed the way that I do business, but the way that I live lifestyle. Right. So again, thank you for that. And that's for me. That's 3.
Paul?
What you guys said. Perfect. You said it all. So, last 5 years for me would be, kind of like a falling crypto market. What we're experiencing right now. Partnership blow up on me that was 12 years. It kind of seemed like it came like an asteroid out of nowhere. And it's the wondering, the why, that sort of stuff. So you got to regroup. You got to deal with all of the paperwork stuff, all of the financial stuff, and then you have to deal with the emotional stuff on that side, right? The unanswered questions and the searching on that. A divorce going through on that side. So it seems, Murphy's Law, right? Murphy's Law applies. It's not one problem, it's several problems at the same time. So, it's getting hit. They always say getting hit, but getting back up, getting hit, but getting back up. You're not 100%, you're not 70%. You may be just staggering on your feet, grabbing the ropes, but you're still on your feet. And, you've really got to, for myself, it was really dealing with the emotional side and getting rid of it. And I think in society, the way things are is bite your tongue, don't say this, don't get angry, not allowed to get angry. I think in certain circumstances, anger is good. Anger is a good release on that side, and not to choke it down and not to suppress it, because it only makes it worse. So, take the old printer out back with the bat and beat the living shit out of it. Like, get that physical movement, get that body-mind connection so you can get the stress out. And I found for myself, it was better that way, so that I could refocus. And then, the gym comes in on that play, and just having that, whatever that stress release is, that walk in nature. And, so it really helped to understand how we consider it bad. Everything is considered bad or good with our experiences. But the thing is what did I learn? What introspectively did I look at and see where my responsibilities were? What was my viewpoint or expectations, or putting expectations on others? So getting rid of the emotional side, I was able to really just sit and think. And, we've all said it, using a coach. I had a mentor that I could go and bitch and complain to, which is fantastic. And I don't say that lightly. I think it's definitely needed, where you have a circle of influence of trust and security, and know that, that person or those people aren't going to be, making fun of you behind your back. You have that, as a brother, I have your back. I'm going to hold you up in these particular moments. So a lot of it is mental. I think it's a lot about the mental game, but it's also reflection and going, if I didn't go through the bad, how could I really enjoy the good?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we're going to take that first framework. So we're talking again for everybody that's joining us live, and there's like 120 people live with us right now. Love it. So thank you so much for joining us on here as well. You can drop a comment, give us some love and a thumbs up. That'd be great. So thank you so much. It helps the algorithm and that. We're talking about the power of story, and I mean what shapes us and molds us when we come forward. And I've made everybody here, including myself, pick 3 things in the last 5 years that really started to make that change, that direction. Whether it's like an ocean liner and it takes a long time to turn, or whether it's small, fast, and sharp. These things come as those moments, and we could either fold. We could fold and get hurt for a little while, but eventually we get back up and learn something from it, start to move forward. These are ridiculously important for us to have centermost in our mind, our ability to be able to take those and move them forward. So with that being, here's the moments that cause that to happen. What are the lessons learned? So we had moments that did this, and it started to create the change to where we're at today. And we're all still transforming. So I'll talk about, of course, mine first to give some framework, and for Matt and Paul to have a little bit of time. If we're looking at that, we're going to think about 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 things that we really learned that polished our knives or our axes, gave us better tools, better coping mechanisms, or just made us better because we learned to do something better, right? There's a skill, it's a competency, it's called resilience. And resilience is the ability to get knocked down and stand back up, right? Resilience is displayed in the form of a behavior, and it's like the evolution of resilience called perseverance. It means that even though adverse conditions show up all the time, your ability to continue to move forward amongst that adversity, to know that even though things are really tough, really challenging right now, that it's okay. You could keep moving. It's okay to feel pain. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to feel fatigued. It's okay to be exhausted, have all these emotional states and physical problems and mental and spiritual and others that are coming towards you. But your resilience leads to perseverance. Perseverance leads to what? Success. You know, brilliance in relationships will get you everywhere. Human capital, great people around you. But a lot of people fail in business and in life because they stop moving. I don't mean stop moving to catch your breath or because it's too much today. No. That is kindness to yourself. But one of those are the first 2 lessons that I've learned, but the first 2 tools that I have to practice daily. One is resilience and perseverance. This is tough. Business is tough. I might be a business coach. I'm still running a business in the middle of a pandemic. It's tough. It's really tough on any given day. Some days it's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to put it down and I have to walk away. I have to. We're all subject to that. But it's the ability to come back even same day, same hour, or 10 minutes later to pick all of it back up, put it back on like a backpack, and keep marching, keep moving. It is ridiculously important to keep doing that. And that second part, I only mentioned really quickly, one word: kindness. And I don't mean kindness to everybody else, because you will become a doormat if you are kind to everybody without actually considering the consequence. But no, right here, kindness to yourself first. It's okay. It's fine. You've got this. You're good enough. We can get everything we need in here, etc. All that other great stuff that needs to happen. But starting with kindness to yourself means that when it's time to be kind to other people, that you're being mindful to protect yourself first. And Matt brought it up as a lesson being learned for a moment that pivoted, but knowing what you're risking, having some form of measurement. A skill that I didn't have for a long time in life was actually being able to risk assess, looking at where I was at compared to what I was risking, and was it worth it? Being able to measure those, taking calculated risks instead. That was really important for me to develop. So becoming more resilient and being able to persevere, being kind to myself first, meant that I could, in a proper way, display kindness to other people. And then from there, right, be able to measure risk assessment appropriately. Matt, Paul, thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is as important, if not more important, than the first question, which is what we actually learn from it, right? So the inner circle comment that I made is like, it truly helped me define who I was through the people that I hung out with. And again, like, that's been a mantra, a saying, an opportunity for decades now, right? But I didn't really see it. And the biggest lesson is that you can truly have a very close friend. And I don't know if this is a guy thing or just my guy's thing, but we didn't really share everything, right? And we weren't truly authentic. And, you know, it allowed us to dive that much deeper and, you know, be quote unquote vulnerable and say, like, fuck, I don't know. I don't think I have it figured out. And there's a couple of them that haven't recovered yet, right? And we all want to work together in order to get them there. So I think that has just strengthened those bonds. And I think that's been fantastic. You know, the financial planner is something that I brought up specifically, but realistically, it was about me as I age and mature, identifying that I don't know it all and that there are people that are able to do it. And more importantly, if I'm doing it at the level of understanding that I have, how much time and energy is it taking me? And now that my kids are more mature, I would much rather pay somebody to make that stuff happen and go out for a bike ride and do the board games or whatever it may be. So really that lesson was about access to the people that are your loved ones. And then the coach, again, it was just being able to, I guess, be in a room with a mentor and break it down. So again, like back to my gym membership type philosophy of the only time you build a muscle is when you break it down and it has to build back stronger. It has no choice. You've been part of that process, Mitch. So thank you for that. Paul?
For me, it's going back to basics, going back to what worked. I think we can get so busy, we can get pushed off what we used to do, and simplify. So for me, it was going back to basics. It was simplifying. It was finding spots for me, for my time, something that I could control. I could control my workouts. I can control my time. If I want to go for a walk here, I'm blocking it off. You know, we talk a lot about that in our coaching, but you know, it's definitely applied in my life, and I know it's applied in everyone's life here. Do we need to adjust it once in a while? Sure, absolutely. The other one is avoiding. What am I avoiding? What am I avoiding? That's the shit I need to do first. I have to do it because I'm avoiding it, and it's just going to keep coming up again and again. So do I want to do it? No. Am I excited to do it? No. What am I going to learn? What am I going to be exposed to? What am I going to develop when I get out of my own way? And a lot of it is that personal thought process of I can't, I've got time, I don't have time, I have the money, I don't have the money. It's a complete block. Instead of changing the wording of how can I get it done? And there's rules or there's guidelines, but each one of us will do it differently within those. So we still find our own way of getting it done. Some of us at different speeds, some of us you got to drag to it, you know, but it's finding that. So it's really putting a pin on avoiding. It's really taking the spots for myself and then backing up for the 50,000 foot view and go, what's working and what's not. And adjusting from there.
All right. 3 moments that caused us to change, the things that we're getting better at, the skills that we're developing, the talent, the muscle memory that we're starting to grow with. These are ridiculously important. We've got 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. It doesn't matter what the time frame is for the journey to get us to this moment. It matters for those moments that we recognize and what we're turning into. Here's the tough question. What's still tough? What is still really tough to get through the day with? What's still really tough, either because you're developing the muscle, etc., because you're just not there yet. You're not sure if you're going to get there. We have saboteurs. We have voices in our head every day. We've got imposter syndrome playing with us. The incidence and the skyrocketing rates of mental illness and mental health problems right now due to the pandemic and money worries and inflation and all these other things. 52%. You know, we used to say once upon a time, I don't know, 1 in 8, 1 in 6, 1 in 4, 1 in 3, 1 in 2, right? So if there's three of us on this call and 2 of us have mental health problems, what's that saying, right? But that aside, something's always tough. None of us are getting through life easy. Okay. Now let's be really clear for everybody there. Mitch, starting to sound depressing. I don't mean to be depressing at all. It should be 100% hope-filled, because even the best, even the people that literally help other people to navigate problems in lives and hiring and cash flow and money and sales and navigating relationships and business partnerships and selling something and buying something and dealing with bankruptcy and dealing with lottery winnings and dealing with everything else that comes in life. I work too many hours. I don't work enough hours. I'm scared that I'm not doing enough. I think I'm doing too much. All these different bits and pieces. These are just elements of life. And we express and live with them the same as everyone else. And we still have moments where we're challenged because of it, things that we just don't like. Here's a skill that I have really highly developed because, of course, I will put myself first. I'm not going to ask my boys to do their thing before me. I'll go first, right? Joan of Arc used to say, and this is translated obviously from French, go boldly amongst the English. And then I went boldly amongst the English. So I'll go first. I have, here we go, pump my own tires for a moment, a ridiculously highly developed skill set when it comes to time management, problem solving, project management, etc. Why? I am terrible at all of those things. I am god awful at them. And when I have, in the last 2 weeks, been ridiculously challenged, they've been incredibly challenged. Now, rewarding, right? Love the job that I do, but tiring, exhausting, like brain hurts. So much happens that when I leave my office cul-de-sac and go back to see my wife and my daughters, sometimes, last night being an example, there's so little left of me to take upstairs that my wife knows that it's safe to talk, but she better not expect an answer, not because I don't love her. I just don't have enough of me to give back. I literally don't, there's not enough energy in my brain to form the words to reply. And breathing feels mechanical. But where I find I'm consistently challenged with these really, really busy weeks is those areas that while I've developed really strong technical skills, time management, problem solving, troubleshooting, project management, all these others, when I'm under pressure, I still find it hard to focus. I still find it hard to get myself down into that technical skill set that I'm very comfortable with, that I find really easy to navigate. But because I'm under pressure, my brain's going, you got to act, you got to act, you got to act. And what I have to do is I have to sit down and I have to focus and I have to condense or collate or collect things together. I have to bring data into place. I have to make sense of it. I have to sort it out, order it, organize it. I have to build documentation. I have to do all these other things that I've developed strong skills that I've had training for, that I've reached certifications, etc. All these other wonderful things that I've built in life, but they're not the areas that I'm strongest at. And I still often feel uncomfortable when I'm tasked, when I'm the only set of hands that can do them. And I've seen that over the last 2 weeks where I'm starting to get impatient. I'm still going, last night was tough, very long day. I had about 3 hours. I had to work on some documentation, really important for a client of ours. And every 15 minutes, I had to reset my brain because my brain's like, just put it away. Just stop. You're not happy, you're frustrated with this. It's good enough. They're never going to know. They're never going to know. You can fix it later. You're not in really good shape. You really don't feel like it right now. You're not feeling this at all. Just pack it away. And that sense of naysay and literally doing the work, I'm like, this is tough because I'm tired. I'm worn out. I'm exhausted. My emotional range is shrunk, right? Physically, I feel sore, even though I work in a mental gymnasium. But it's that perseverance, right? That's the thing that was there. My toughest is having to always navigate to those spots there because I will, by behavior, not quit, but suddenly go, I'll come back to it later. Let's go do something more fun. Let's go do something more in our wheelhouse. So that's the part that scares me all the time, because what if I quit at the wrong time, right? And those are things that I'm proud of developing technically, but are not my strongest. Yeah, ridiculously good, but because it's not something I gravitate to first, I always worry that those are the moments I'm going to quit. Matt, Paul, what about you guys?
I think for me, the most important takeaway overall has been don't search or wait for motivation, just create the habit and create something that becomes practical for you. Like if the challenge that I've seen for so many people is that, oh, no, I'll wait for tomorrow. And like some people's retirement plans still are, I buy a lotto ticket on, Tuesdays and Fridays. Like that is their retirement.
14% of Canadians on average are expecting to win a lottery for retirement.
What? Anyway, so motivation is shit. Discipline is everything for myself. And I think that kind of speaks to what you were chatting about for yourself, Mitch, too, right? Is that like, it's hard when it's new and it's hard when you're learning. But if you create something that becomes subconscious, and again, that's the 10,000 hour rule, right? If you can just rep it out enough, it becomes habitual and it's no longer work or taxing. So I try and do the things that I'm great at more, and I will add certain components of what I'm good at and elevate those so that those become great. Rarely do I go off at this point in time in my world to say, I'm really bad at this, I'm going to do that. That will be where I'll say, hey, we have a team of 3 here. Paul, you are a wizard at this. Mitch, you're a master at this. Let's, plug in together and see what we can do. And that's right now. I think that once the playing field of what has been the pandemic really does redefine where everybody is. Yeah, I want to be a student forever. I love learning, but it's more of I remember when I did that. Now I need to get back to it. And it allows me to not get distracted or upset because I really am not starting from 0 ever. I'll start from at least, 3 or 4 on a 10 scale. And I want to get up to like the 8 or 9s.
All right. Not modeling, really important, because this is, again, nature and story. You go, well, I didn't hear an awful lot about the absolute specifics. You don't need to. These are shared universal human experiences. Now, if you can and you feel brave enough, you can drop a thumbs up and stuff like that. I'm loving the emojis and the commentary and stuff like that that's showing up today, right? Loving what's popping in here. And hey, to whoever the devil is, and Ermy, thank you so much for commenting, dropping stuff in here. Other people are dropping comments and emojis and stuff like that. Love seeing this on the chat. We got a great live audience with us right now. Now we're going to shift gears to the things that make you feel better, make you feel like you're loved, like you're doing really well, right? So what's something you look forward to every day? You wake up every morning. Now there's the comment of, fuck, I have to do this. I have to get this out of the way. If I don't do this, something bad's going to happen. This one's tough. Instead, what's the I get to moments for you? There are things we get to do every day that are I get to moments. There are ones that we love, that we're passionate about. On Fridays, I get to do this. This is cool. Whether it is 20 people watching or 2 people watching or 200 people watching or 2,000 people watching. We've had thousands of people join us live before. Whether it is thousands, whether it's hundreds, whether it's tens, whether it's 2, whether it's 1 person comments, whether it's hundreds of people are dropping love into our chat, doesn't matter. I get to do this. I love that part. Every day when I get up, I get to help people.
Yeah, you love this part because you get to drop these bombs on us every Friday.
I get to sandbag Paul and Matt. They're like, we don't know what we're going to talk about. You're welcome. You're welcome, live studio audience, because they don't know what the hell's going on until they show up. And that's the way I like it. But I love it on Friday because I get to do this. But every day I get up and I get to help people. I didn't think that I would love helping people. I didn't think I'd love doing it and really seek not the approval or the recognition, but the relief when I see that in somebody else, when I see the relief in their eyes, when I see the weight get lifted off their shoulders. That fuels me. I didn't think I was built like that. I did not at all. And I find as I continue to advance in my career, every day I'm like, if I can just help one more person, I can just help one more person. Today I get to help someone. Today I get to help someone. Today I'm going to help somebody with this. Today I'm going to help somebody with that. And that fuels me. And I leave it. And then I think to myself, how am I going to help my daughters? How am I going to help my sons? How am I going to help my wife? How am I going to help my parents? How am I going to help my brothers and my friends? How am I going to help my sisters in the world that are out there? Every day I wake up and go, I get to help people. That's cool. I love it. And the way I help people is with their money and with their people and with their hiring and with their sales and with their marketing and with their thinking, the deep thinking, strategic thinking. I'm here now and I want to go to there because I love puzzles. I love solving puzzles. I love mysteries. I love not knowing what the outcome is and then being clever enough to craft the tools that it takes to get exactly the outcome. Because everything that we start in life, we don't know how it's going to end. But I love being able to help people because we start in a place where they don't know, and even if I don't know, and say, we're going to end up here and then land there every time. That's cool, right? That's what I get to do every day. Paul, Matt, what about you?
I love shitty odds. I love the underdog. I love pushing against it. I love somebody telling me no. Tell me no and watch me. It ignites that determination that we've talked about. If anyone saw the race on Saturday, the Kentucky Derby, you want to talk about a story that's going to be talked about for decades. Go watch that race. Rich Strike. Horse wasn't even supposed to be in the race. Got put in because of a scratch. They prepared an entire year to not even be in the race. They got in the race. That horse came from the worst position on the outside, last in the race, boxed in, getting beat up during the race because he's in the middle, and you watch that horse take off. That's the shit. Nobody told the horse that he couldn't fucking win. That horse kicked the shit out of $30 million horses. It's a science, man. I mean, it's a true science. This is a sport of billionaires. And a $30,000 horse won. I mean, won big. That's the stuff. It's the Kurt Warner story. It's the Rudy. It's the Sylvester Stallone. You know, I like to get pumped up on that stuff too, because these are examples in real life. If you show up, if you do the work, the opportunity shows up. It's make that call. And as a coach, it's frustrating because I'm dragging you to pick up the phone to solve your own problem. And you won't do it. You won't do it. And that's the frustrating side of it, but it's also the love of it because I'm in. I'm here. Let's go. Let's drive. Let's get you on fire. Let's get those wins. Let's learn from those losses. It's yeah, you know, you're the trainer in the corner for Rocky. You know, the old guy Mick. Come on, Rock, go. That's the satisfaction. It's not me in the center of the ring getting the belt and getting the reward. It's me being in the background, grinding it out with you. And you guys getting the rewards is like, yeah, I don't need the spotlight. It's not what I'm about. It's about building people up and igniting their fucking passion throughout their body. Like, go for it. I don't give a shit what everybody says. I don't care what the economy is. I could care less what gas prices are or food prices. There's always a way, right? Everyone says the Chinese proverb, crisis, but opportunity. So what are we looking at? So I love refocusing myself, but I also love refocusing my clients.
Love it. Maddie, what you got?
I would say all has been said, but like the statement or the mantra that I have lived by for quite some time is that I choose, right? Like everything that I do, I get to choose. So when people say, oh, I got to go to work. No, you don't. You're choosing to go to work and you go to a job that you fucking hate. That's a choice. Oh, well, I've got this, and this. Yes, we all have that. Like we've created this North American lifestyle that would suggest that you need to be at like 1.7% or 1.7 of your income above with debt, like whatever it may be, but you're choosing all of that. So I love, similar to Paul, to be like, listen, there's always a way, like up, over, through, but for all of it. And this has been a really consistent conversation lately is that I love sports. I was an athlete. I'd love to be able to be the man in the arena or in the ring. I've been there before. And Paul, I agree. I also love to be the one outside coaching because you get to see it, right? Like the one thing that I've noticed between being the kickboxer and then the kickboxing coach, it's like you get to see it all when you're on the outside of the ring and you're like, oh, I can really help guide. And that's really what interested me so much about coaching is that I've been an entrepreneur for so long and I've had some great successes, some terrible failures. But because of that, I have a better understanding of the landscape that is. So to me, it's just always been, you get to choose. Like everything that you do from the moment that you wake up, that you should be super grateful for because you didn't choose that because some people choose otherwise. And at that point, get the fucking work. Like I'm swearing lots today, but it's like, I've had the saying since the pandemic started, nobody cares, go to work, figure it out, right? Like we all are writing a story right now. And what's your story saying? Like, what is this chapter? And it's a really big chapter. Don't get me wrong. Like when we all have our journals out and it's the pandemic, it's a really big chapter, but what are you saying in it? Right. And it's who you saying it to? How do your actions kind of create your legacy? And like, if you think this is tough, go overseas right now. Like there's no bombs going off over our heads. If you have a grenade in your room, it's because you put it there and it's in business. Throw it back, right? So anyway, long story long there, but it's just simply you get to choose, make the right choices.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can just feel the feedback coming. Well, how? It's easy for you to say, how do you do that? I'm in a different situation. How? That's what I get the sense of, is everyone's throwing the how back, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to completely give you the total path and solve your problems. You'd be miserable if I did everything for you. What kind of journey is that? Yay. Why do you play video games? So that somebody can show you or just play the game for you and win? Like relate it to what's the shit that you're doing in your life. And then you just tweak it a bit and you bring it into your business. I'm not saying it's easy. I mean, all of us get down. I get down. I use the stuff that pumps me up. I do the stuff that I can get out of the office and go for a walk. I go with friends, barbecues. This is the stuff that helps to fill you up, to get rid of the stress, to refocus me, to watch the motivational stuff, and then the reminders in real life of why I'm doing this, and to keep going. Because man, you're gonna get smacked. You're gonna get hit. You're gonna get hit 3 or 4 or 5 times in the same day. Murphy's gonna have a picnic with you. There's always a problem. It's never going to be you're not going to have a problem. That's life. And if you think you're not, you're fucking dreaming. So wake up and just take a little bit. And the how starts with, how can I? Get a pad of paper and just start writing. Well, I don't have any money. Well, how can I do it? Have you got shit that you can sell? Could you mow a lawn? Could you paint a fence? What skills do you have? Can you market that? Can you go on to Fiverr? I mean, we could sit here for probably 2 hours and brainstorm. Who do you know in your network? Who do you want to know? Have you ever gone to Meetup? Have you ever gone to things that are of interest? One of my clients just was working out and met a realtor. So now he's got an entire brokerage coming on for deals. What was he doing? Working out, taking his own time. One conversation changed it, but he's gone out there and done it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Boys, audience is in here. Lots of commentary coming in. Loving it. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to wrap it up here shortly because we're only on until 1 o'clock our time, Mountain Standard Time. So we got less than 2 minutes here. We've got 3 things that caused a pivot, challenges that we face because the part that we love. What's the one lesson everybody else has to carry forward from today? Now, Paul, it sounds like you said yours already, so you can restate it if you want, or you can pick a new one too. And this time I'm going to shut up and go last.
Okay. This is from Calvin Coolidge. Nothing in the world takes the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent.
Strong words, brother. Matt, what you got?
2 things. And again, coming from somebody that has not been at a high level, but the fear of getting hit far outweighs actually getting hit 99% of the time. Like, just get in the ring and get hit. You will figure it out. And the best way to do it is to get hit. Second thing, and you guys have heard this for as long as we've known one another, for the business owners out there and maybe in life, it's not for a lack of resources that people fail. It's for a lack of resourcefulness. Like, look at the world we live in. We have such a diverse tool set and a toolkit. You guys just need to know where to find it and then figure out which tool to pick up. Because if you're picking up a hammer and you need a screwdriver, you're still screwed. But resourcefulness is always going to be success.
Absolutely. I'll finish off because, of course, we're business coaches. We've been talking about the things in life that get us to here, but I will finalize this by giving you the resources from a business perspective. You only have to sell. You only have to keep more cash than what you're spending. Write it down on a regular basis. And when you hire, treat the person you're hiring like you're trying to get married to them. Can you live together for 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 hours a day? And do that every single day. Measure your cash flow every day. It will help you figure out how much you got to sell. When you can figure out what you got to sell, then you need to figure out what makes it better than your competitors. When you can figure that out, tell people why they should trust you instead. And when you hire people and teach them to do both those two things, make sure you would like to be married to them, that you're okay with spending 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 hours a day, and then give them the ability and the responsibility to make whatever they want off of you. Because if they make it, the business makes it. If the business makes it, you make it in return. That's how simple business needs to be. If you can remember to do that, things like perseverance are easy, because all of us can create lists of dozens or hundreds of tasks to do. But if you look at just those 2 or 3 or 4 things that you got to do on a day-to-day basis, guess how small your list shrinks to in a hurry? 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 things. Now you know what to prioritize to get your ass in gear and get it out the door. To our audience that has joined us today, to my brothers from other mothers, it has been a lot of fun having a tiny little panel, just us, to talk about a little bit of story. We never heard your story. Yes, you did. You heard pain, trials and tribulations, human experiences, skills that we like and don't like, stuff that other people have to use and go forward. If you haven't heard your own voice or your own life experience in there, I don't think you're spending enough time really examining what you're going through, because this thing called life has challenges, has broken relationships, has lots of love, has lots of money, has no money, has great opportunities, has illnesses and death and all those other great things. And being able to deal with it on a day-to-day basis is ridiculously important, because the same skills that are going to get you through life, remember, there's a 100% chance you're going to die at the end. So between now and then, choose to hustle your ass no matter what you do. Pick something you're good at. Make sure other people recognize it. Treat people the best you can. Help them every day. Take good care of your family and make a little bit of money while you're doing it. Matt, Paul, as always, thank you so much. I am Mitch Kamich. I am the Savage of Business. This is the Virtual Business Box Lunch in May, Friday the 13th. Dun, dun, dun. And I have been your host as always. We will see you next Friday. We love you very much. We're glad you were able to join us. Check out our other episodes in the rest of season 2, season 1 before that, and of course, our other content on our sister station, Syndicate. We will see you all next time.